today we've got a fantastic guest, another local legend, Coach
Blessings.
Bang. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Bang.
So we're doing this here to elevate boxing and combat sports enthusiasts that are in the area through PeoriaLife.com and our YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much for being on here, sharing your stories. I really love a lot of the work that you guys are doing out in the community. Anshuman and I had an opportunity to go to the Distillery Labs grand opening today, and I can't tell you how much fun it was to just talk to people about the programs that you guys put in place, the individuals that you're working with. You guys are really laying the groundwork to do something very, very special for the Peoria area. So I just wanted to give you just a big round of applause because you guys are doing.
Appreciate y'all, man, for real.
No, really, you guys are doing the work. It's awesome. So, and these guys just did a show at the Expo Gardens on July 28th. I was in attendance. Professional boxer Anthony Holloway was there. William Langston was there.
I was there in the audience.
It was just like all the Peoria legends are just in this room, and you could walk across the room and just talk to some of these guys. And I had a chance to talk to William Langston, about his fight that he had in Vegas and what that experience was like. And it's just, man, you guys are doing it. One of the things that this shirt that I've got behind me, KOK Dream Chasers.
Oh yeah.
So the KOK Dream Chasers program, I think is absolutely fascinating, and it fills in a much needed gap in the community. Tell me a little bit about the KOK Dream Chasers from your perspective and what that mission means to you.
Oh man, my brother, man, he's the mastermind. You know what I mean? And I try to follow up and make sure that the plan get pushed all the way through. And it's about chasing dreams, man. At the end of the day, it's about chasing dreams, and we want to make sure that we have the resources and connect the dots that need to be connected so you can achieve those dreams that you're chasing.
I understand, combat sports is a great way for engaging with kids. I mean, back when I was teaching at Manual, originally I went in as a creative writing instructor. I mean, they weren't very enthused. I tried it, but so then I decided, since I've known martial arts for, I don't know, at least 20 years, I might as well try that. It got really enthusiastic with the kids, especially at Manual and Lincoln. I did explicitly tell the children that you need to be careful while doing martial arts because it is dangerous, and if you do not know how to do it, you could hurt yourself or somebody else. And if I find out you're using what I teach you, fight other kids, I will permanently ban you from my class.
Indeed, it's a discipline at the end of the day. Again, like I said, that's one of my mottos. You got to be dedicated. You got to be determined, but you got to be disciplined, and that's the key foundation of it all. Without the discipline, then you're running wild, and there's no control with anything. And martial arts is about self-control, self-accountability, and being understanding oneself.
Well, what's it like to walk that line there? Knowing that you're, I see you as an elite level athlete. You're somebody who's in the top, 10-20% of individuals, across the world in terms of what they're doing. So knowing that you've got that ammunition, you've got it, and say you're getting into something out on the street with somebody over some ego thing, what's it like? I mean, is it something you thinking in your head do I need to drop this guy, or is it how can I walk away? How do you think about
that's the first thing. That's the first thing. No lie. That's the very, very first thing. Is what I said. You overstanding oneself. And I know how dangerous it can be, and I'm not here to harm anyone. I didn't learn it to harm anyone. I learned it to be better with myself and to overstand myself and to push myself to these limits to see if I'm capable of doing something outside of just being in the martial arts. It helped me be a better employee at the jobs that I was in. It gave me dedication to be able to stick at something and to do it for 20 years plus. And so, it's really just learning oneself at the end of the day. And when it comes to those type of situations, I know that I'm the better man. I know that I can be the better man because I have that self-control, because I done went through that. I done been dedicated, and I done been determined, and I done did over 1,000 push-ups, you know what I mean, in the days and the times that I have to do that. So it's just really knowing yourself, and when you know yourself, you don't put yourself in those type of situations, and it's a lot easier to avoid those situations.
As someone who just did 200 abs yesterday, the thought of doing 1,000 push-ups in one day just makes my triceps cringe.
Well, I want to talk just a little bit about something that I think kind of it's everywhere in any gym that you go to, just the ego. How does the ego play a role in maybe some of these guys getting into a fight that maybe they shouldn't be getting into?
Yeah, and if you have ego is one of those things that you will hear a lot of people say, man, ego is a cage. You know what I'm saying? It's a cage to the true animal inside of you. And if you have an ego to where it's bigger than you, then you will understand that cage and what it really means, because you're not going to get far, because you will be tamed. There's always somebody out there that has your number. When I first started in martial arts, and it was when I first started doing the MMA and competition-wise, I was already doing some boxing. I was already doing striking. And I had good skills with that. I was very advanced in a lot of individuals that I dealt with. They couldn't keep up with me. I was fast. I was young. Of course, I was an athlete because I done played almost every sport and pretty good at it. And so it was like, man, once I got to that level, or that skill level, and I end up going against another guy who had a different skill level, and it was like, whoa, okay, this is very humbling. I thought I had it all, but this grappling I don't know nothing about. And now you know what I'm saying, it sort of puts you in that place like, yeah, that ego don't mean nothing. You might have them hands, but what if you're getting grabbed? And so now it's back to that humbling stage. Now you're just a seed all over again. When it comes to that martial arts world, everybody ain't strikers. Some people do jiu-jitsu, some people do judo, and that's what makes martial arts so great, because of all these different plates that come to the table. You're eligible to humble yourself. You know what I mean?
I always think about this one line in this. I can't remember the name of the song, but he says, you ain't got to flex much if you know you got them. And I think about that a lot, because when you know that you can just level someone and you choose not to, just high roading the hell out of it, I don't know. I feel like that's just it's a win every time. Anytime you can walk away from a fight like that, you have won the day.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the first sign of self-defense is the voice. You know what I mean? And so some people just tend to use that voice a little more than what it has to be. But once you get past that voice, they usually tuck their tails, and that's just because they done focused on the voice too much. And when you get to the sport in the martial arts, you learn that. You learn that, like, man, you really don't have to say a lot once you get up to that skill level, because it's on you. It's, what was in you comes on the outside now. So your mouth don't really do a whole lot of talking. It's the way you walk. It's the way you move. And the actions behind it is what really starts paying the bills,
Yeah. Well, hey, and I see Coach Bell back there. I just need to give you a little shout out, because last time we talked, you talked about the history of you with Emmanuel Stewart and Tommy Hearns. And I honestly, I didn't know a whole lot about the guys, but because you had mentioned that, I went and watched. I found an hour-long documentary on Tommy Hearns.
You're right.
Wow.
Yeah. Motor City Cobra,
sniper, man. He was a sniper. He was 78-inch reach. Maybe what's your reach, Coach Bang?
76.
70. I was gonna say, because you kind of have a very similar build, like that style.
That was my gift. That was like my skill. You know what I mean? And because I got a short torso, so people you look at me a little different. Like, is he short? Is he tall? But once I stretched out, you're like, oh, he's actually long. He's a longer fighter. You know what I mean? And that was my skill. That was one of my little gifts that I would say that got me through my martial arts game.
So for somebody who maybe isn't familiar with striking, like how big of an advantage is it to have that reach over your opponent?
If you know how to use it, it's a great advantage if you know how to use it. But if you don't know how to use it, it could be a big disadvantage, because timing is everything, and as far as once it comes out, it comes back. So if you don't really know what you're doing with that length, man, it can be a disadvantage to you. A lot of cats will get underneath you. They'll be inside your insides, and once they in there, you know, with all that reach, it's hard to get them out of there. So it's like once you learn it and learn how to use it with everything, it becomes a gift.
Yeah, 'cause I remember when I was in Taekwondo, there was this guy there named, they called him the Tree, because he was like 6'9", he had crazy reach, like he was just bigger than everybody. And I remembered, like, all I had to do was get just a little bit farther inside than I was normally comfortable getting, and it took away everything. Like, he tried to throw a kick, I could literally just slip it. Like, I could just kind of dump the roll underneath
it ain't coming off, man.
And boxing it's a little bit different animal, because like once you get inside on someone, if they know their footwork, they can just change that angle and really, you know, cut you up, you know, pretty bad.
And really put something on it, which made Mr. Motor City or the Hitman so great as a fighter, because he knew that he was a longer fighter. He knew that he was sort of on a thinner side in the beginning of his career. So it wasn't the weight that made him a great fighter. It was actually his timing and how he utilized his length. And so a lot of cats would try to come in on him, but he had a check that was crazy. He had an uppercut that was crazy, because he knew when to use it. It was the timing of all these moves. So it's like really learning yourself again. That's what makes martial arts so great. Once you learn yourself and understand the tools that you have and when to use them, man, that's a hard person to deal with.
Well, and watching, you know, Tommy Hearns,
the training, the certain type of training that I witnessed, what made that jab was what it made it. The jab and that uppercut that he had, that 1-2, hey, the way he prepared, the way Manuel Stewart trained him, I'm talking about, man, it was been days where Tommy Hearns would cry. You know, hitting that bag all day, just working on the jab all day.
So you're right.
You know, so the preparation, and that's where I get a lot of my training from, you know, techniques from, and you know, because I know it works.
It does.
Yeah, when he had this really kind of innate ability where he would kind of like, you know, say, you know, our shoulders are square, we're looking at each other. He would kind of angle off to the side where he's kind of just outside of your power hand, and he would throw this jab out to just take away your vision, and then as soon as you get hit with this jab, that sniper shot comes over top and just done for, lights out.
And that angle gave him an extra 2 inches.
Indeed it did.
So 78, he really was like an 81 inch.
Yeah, reach. You know what I mean? Especially after he done stepped out on that booger and he stayed on his toes, so it gave him that advantage. Come on up in here, champ. You know what it is. Come on, champ. Don't be like that. You know I'm gonna bring you in, baby. You know I'm gonna bring my boy in, man. Y'all
Hey, the
we
man
always
of the
working.
hour. Hey, Anthony Holloway. Good to see you, dude. Hey, I got that shirt for him. Thank you so much for signing that for me and my son, dude. That was so cool.
So you're right, man. So you're right. You told you we always working. Always working, boss.
Hey, so do you guys, you know, when we talked last, Anthony said he had some big stuff that was coming down the pipeline. You guys have any news to share?
Yeah, we still working. We still working, and the pipeline, and it's flowing. It's super flowing, but I don't like to, you know what I'm saying, talk about the egg before they hatch, or talk about my chickens before they hatch. So, you know what I mean? We still working and grinding, and that pipeline is flowing.
I just wanted to plug it if we could. But you know, he showed me something that I didn't know and I thought was fascinating. There's a website called boxrec.com. And
yes, sir.
There you can see all of the official rankings. Is it the WBO or the WBA? Which organization is it for? Do you know?
It actually, BoxRec mentioned them all. It mentions them all. But you know, the WBO and the WBA is the focus. But it mentions them all. Yeah.
I saw, you know, Anthony Holloway. I mean, he's a ranked professional fighter, and he's
he is
4 shots shy of where Jake Paul is at. And I'm like, how the hell did Jake Paul get ahead of Anthony Holloway? How did that happen? It doesn't make any sense. Are they giving him like extra credit for fighting Mike Perry? Like, what is that?
Yeah, that part, we're not 100% sure how that worked out, but, you know, we're going to keep striving because it's inevitable. You're gonna have to run into it. As long as we climbing the ladder, you're gonna have to run into it. And that's how we focus on everything. We really ain't out there trying to spit on nobody or anything like that, because we know we coming. And that's what's important. We put one leg in front of the other. A lot of people like to walk, but we run when we going. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think that, like, you know, somebody like Jake Paul, who is, you know, I mean, he's definitely got a lot of talent. We know that he's working hard, but there's a question mark over everything that he does, or an asterisk kind of next to the work that he does, because, you know, how he builds his contract. You know, some of the fights have ended in just really odd ways. Like, I mean, Tyrone Woodley dropping his lead hand. Come on, like, what are you thinking? It didn't make any sense.
That whole, or him turning. I never seen Tyrone Woodley in the movie. Not saying he ain't never did it, but I ain't seen no Tyrone Woodley movie. And for you to change your title from, you know what I'm saying, former UFC fighter / actor, I was already going from there. Like, where the acting come in at? You know what I mean? The message is in the pudding.
Didn't he have to get like a tattoo or something? Like, just in order to get him to, like, I'm like, dude, that's just. I mean, I'm glad that he was able to earn some money from the fight, but I thought that some of those things leading up to it were just kind of gross, in my opinion.
I know, because I feel like Jake.
And I'm I'm an enthusiast. I love the game for what the game is. I mean, for whatever, like you said, I am an athlete. I did almost all the sports, and I'm like that for everything that I do. I want the game to be what the game is if we're gonna play it.
Exactly.
You know, and so when it comes to Mr. Paul, Jake Paul, man, I'm not a fan of what he's doing to the game, but I am also a businessman, so I understand the business side of it. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think it's supposed to be in the same room as real boxers.
Because my concern is he's giving nothing for young people to look up to. Like, Muhammad Ali got beaten twice by rap in my tongue. Who did he lose to? Joe Frazier. He lost twice to Joe Frazier. Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. Both men just kept going regardless of what happened to them. Like, Jake Paul has never had his back against the wall. Like, it's when you have to.
And the one fight he did lose was actually against a real boxer, and we ain't heard nothing else about that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They try to tweak that under the rug like that ain't never really happened. You have to be a boxing enthusiast to know that his real loss came from a boxer.
So the fact is, the man that you're not, perseverance is just as much as important in boxing as strength. The thing is, what you are literally giving nothing. You're not even leaving a legacy behind. You're not giving people.
No, it's for right now. And that's what you know, the attention span of the game and the people that come. That's what it's shrinking. It's just shrinking. You're really not building anything to where they can learn and watch and pick up something from it outside of the business side, which like I said, it shouldn't be in the same room. It should be in the same room.
You know, it all started with Floyd. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather started that.
That's a good point.
Started doing the exhibition fights.
And making a bag off of them exhibition fights.
Yeah, he did that one in
China. He figured out another way to finagle the system, man, and said, if Floyd can do it, I can do it.
That part. Like I said, I don't knock the man hustle at all. I don't knock the man hustle, but just like when Floyd did the exhibitions, real boxing enthusiasts knew that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? It's the exhibition.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see. You'll love to see your vet get out there and you know, put some work in, but then it floods the rest of the world with BS, and now that bleeds into real boxing, and that's where I be wanting to draw the line at when it comes to it. Like, don't bring the two together. You know what I'm saying? If it's entertainment, more so WWE, which is a very strenuous sport. It is a very strenuous sport, and you got to be a skilled individual to do the pro wrestling aspect, but it's pro wrestling. We know that. It's not the Olympic style wrestling, it's pro wrestling. So we know that the entertainment is coming. We know storylines are coming behind it. We could possibly predict who's gonna be the champion within the next 3 months. You know, that's part of the entertainment game of it and the business side. But when it comes to real authentic boxing, it's dog versus dog. You know what I'm saying? Soldier versus soldier, warrior versus warrior, and the outcome is a punch away. And that's what real boxing enthusiasts like to see. You know what I'm saying? Who trained harder? Who really put the work in to be considered a great individual, to be part of that top 20%, that top 10% of elite fighters. And that's what I like to look at. But that takes dedication. That takes determination. That takes real discipline.
Yeah, I keep seeing this TED Talk where they talk about tennis players and the difference between the most successful, the top 10 tennis players in the world versus the top, say 25 tennis players in the world. And essentially the success is marginal. Like when you start filling in those little gaps, that's when you start to find these little greater levels of success. I think with guys like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, they've got a really cool scheme to make some money. They've developed some entertainment value, but I think they've also they've left a gap in the marketplace. The same thing with the UFC and like, do the rankings even matter? Like, really? Like, it kind of doesn't seem like it. It seems like they're just gonna, I think that this will sell more pay-per-views than this one, so let me maybe put together this mismatch of a fight. Instead of like I like the data-driven approach. Like, I want to see somebody doing their work. Are they slipping punches? Do they have the footwork? Are they throwing their hands the right way? Can they move in and out, change levels? Like, that's the stuff that really gets me juiced up when I'm watching boxing. And I feel like all I get to see nowadays are like the matches either just not competitive, or you've got they're playing these defensive battles in order to maintain their record, as opposed to showing off the prowess of the skill set of boxing. And I just feel like the politics of boxing are really infecting the sport in a not very great way.
It is, and me and coach talked about this so much. Of course, what I'm saying, coach got in the game before me. I'm from the '80s era, but I was the kid, I was a baby. You know what I mean? But I got to see dogs fight. I got to really see true boxers, true warriors compete. And if you was considered one, I'm coming to see you because it was more so I want to know what I'm capable of doing. Yes, I'm the world champion, but this guy is great. He done knocked out the last 12 opponents, you know what I'm saying, in the heavyweight division. He's coming hard. He's an up-and-comer. I want to let him know that I'm still the man on top, and that's how boxing was given to me. So that's what I look for now. As a trainer, as a coach, I don't do the pussyfooting with my fighters. We just don't play those games, man. You're gonna be in this sport. You're gonna deal with the L's. You're gonna deal with the bumps and the bruises. You're gonna get yourself beat up a few times because that's what tests you. That's where the tests come in at. You don't really learn how to get up until you fall. So I need to see that now, because a lot of what they build is a lot of false courage, a lot of false heart, and that could be detrimental. That could be detrimental to a person, period. You know what I'm saying? And outside of boxing, you still gotta live this life. And with that, you never tested yourself, and you finally get tested, and now you're embarrassed. Now, once you get up against some real talent and you get tested, now you're embarrassed, and your heart can't deal with that type of torment, a mental torment, and then you lose people that way. And I try to build characters, because it's about understanding self and overstanding self. So I want to build characters, and so you got to get out there in the mud, and that's where Mud Warriors training come from. That's what the whole title of that is about.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I like that dichotomy of how that strings together there. I'm curious to know a little bit more about you. Like you said earlier that you did like pretty much every sport before you got into boxing. What was the sport you did right before making the turn into boxing?
Right before I turned all the way over to boxing, I got up to a high elite level of semi-pro football. I was accident prone. I was accident prone earlier as a young kid, but I played basketball. That's what I started at. That was like sort of the first love, was being on a basketball court, because, what I'm saying, shout out to my cousins and also, rest in heaven. But Tyrone Howard and James Howard, who's a prolific college coach right now, those are my family. And, basketball was bled into our life, you know what I'm saying? So I started off on the basketball court, But I always had this niche as a young kid. In my era, you know, I fought a lot. I just couldn't take it. You know, with me being a fatherless kid, you know, the mama lines took me for a loop. So I did fight a lot, but I liked it. I liked it. When I did fight, I felt good about whatever I did to that person at that time. Not saying I like to harm people, but it was like I got my point across. And so my mom found out about that, and you know, she was like, "I'm gonna try to get you into martial arts." Then I had a tragic event that happened to me. My brother was murdered. My little brother was murdered, and he was murdered by an adult. And once he was murdered, I just stopped trusting adults, and so martial arts became the way of me protecting myself from adults. And I was a nice sized kid, so I just really stuck in that because I never want that to happen to me. What happened to my little brother, and that's how I sort of got into martial arts. It's always been in my life. I started martial arts, taekwondo, and karate when I was 12. Actually 11.
Well, I got my black belt in taekwondo right behind me.
Yeah, so that's where, you know, like I knew I had the talent to pick up anything that came to me. And once I did that, I got into basketball. Like I said, it was sort of thrown in my lap to be a basketball player, but it wasn't physical enough for me. It wasn't physical enough. So I wanted to play football because that was really like the only thing that I can sort of get that same feeling of me running, me jumping as high as I can jump, and then I could hit somebody, you know, and it was okay to do it, and I got praised for it. So I played football, and football was something that carried on. Like that was the first love. It was like, man, I love football, but I couldn't stay in school enough due to my constant battle with individuals and that emotional stress that I used to put on myself with me being a fatherless kid. And you couldn't say nothing about nobody in my family. I fought out because I just was afraid of being, you know what I'm saying, beat on or getting dealt with and not being able to protect myself. So my mentor, shout out to Terrence Howard, which is Tyrone Howard and Jarence Howard's, he's the middle child, he's the brother. And he was already doing Kung Fu. He was doing Kung Fu in the discipline of praying mantis. And he brought it to me one day and was like, "Hey, cuz man, I see that you really got a lot of skills and you can pick up these things. When I leave class, I'll come by and show you some tricks." And he was just coming by, and while everybody else wouldn't play, I would be in my backyard doing the techniques and praying mantis and Kung Fu. And so it was just gradually started bleeding more and more into me. Like, I think combat is going to be something that I'm going to fall in love with. But you got to believe, I'm in the 90s now. This would be about the 90s. There's not a whole lot going on, especially in Peoria. On the boxing side, they just swept it under the rug at this time. So it wasn't no boxing around here. So I just stayed doing my Kung Fu and practicing on my hands. And then one day, I was about 17, my mentor came and picked me up and was like, man, his teacher was like, "Can I come by? They got these little things they was doing." And I go over there. It was at the old Peoria Athletic Club. And the very old Peoria Athletic Club. And they was in there literally live sparring. And I was 17. And wasn't nothing but grown-ups, real grown-ups in there. And I'm like, you know what, man, I want some of this, cuz. And he like, put the gloves on. I ain't know nothing but what he already showed me. And I so happened to defend myself real well up in there too. I got the respect of, and when I say it was all type of forms in there, it was black belt taekwondo. It was, I said, praying mantis Kung Fu practitioner in there. We had pro wrestlers in there. We had, I was considered the only real boxer because I carried the gloves. And I told my cousin then, I'm like, I'm a mentor. I'm like, I'm not going to use my legs anymore. And he was like, what? That was one of your things. I'm like, I don't want to use my legs no more. I don't want to use them until I master my hands. I like, we all stand up. So I want to keep my legs on the ground. And he was like, bet, put on the gloves. I did well. And you know what I mean? Boxing became something that I really focused on after that.
Wow.
Say like the people in like all the different styles and everything, it just sounds like Street Fighter. Like being exposed.
Yes.
It was like that. It was an amazing
You're the
thing,
boxer
man.
with the gloves around your neck. You got the other guy wrapped up with Muay Thai. The Thai march there.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. I wish I could call my mentor, but he could laugh about it because it was a beautiful experience. They did man. We even had knife fighting in there. It was really, like I said, it was a beautiful experience to be around those type of individuals that young and to see that it was something You know what I'm saying? Outside of what my normality was, playing football, playing baseball, you know, doing the track and field. I even tried tennis. I was a diver on a swim team. I did a lot. And so that was like the contact and combat is what really took me to my you know what I'm saying, my destination to where I'm at today.
You know, and you mentioned that you know, kind of back in the day when you were under a lot of stress and you know maybe didn't have the right guidance or, you know, the right kind of people around you in your life to provide the emotional support that you needed. And I'm sure, you know, there was physical support and other types of support that were needed as well.
Indeed.
You know, it makes me think, like for me, like, you know, I've got, you know, ADHD, which is essentially just a dopamine deficiency. But what happens for a lot of people with ADHD is they can be very quick to anger. And the reason that they're very quick to anger is because it actually gives you a whole ton of dopamine.
That part.
When you get mad, you get a ton of this pleasure drug. And then in a lot of ways, you know, you could turn it the wrong way. I think that you did a phenomenal job just kind of knowing yourself and realizing that, like, hey, like, I can get something for myself out of this. I can learn to protect myself. You know, I can start addressing, you know, an insecurity that's been, you know, really it sounds like a scar that was left in you with your little brother being murdered, which, man, I can't even imagine that.
I put him on the back of my hands. That's how serious it was. He's on the back of my hands. It was like, I already knew this what it was. When it happened, man, one of the craziest things, my mom was like, wow. But he had a day bed, bro, and I love to speak on it because it just takes me back to that time. He had a day bed. It was all red. Red is my favorite color. And when he didn't come home from seeing his mother, she was the one who did the job to bring that up. But when he didn't come home, I took his bed. I took the day bed and I drew his mother's face on it. I'm not a woman beater either, by the way. I don't abuse women. But I took the bed, drew his mama's face on it, and I probably whooped that bed from probably sun up to sundown. So my mom was crying. She couldn't deal with it. She came upstairs like, baby, stop. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop. I did not stop. I kept beating that bed up till I put a hole in the wall. And you know what I'm saying? That's why she was like, I really need to figure something out. You got a lot of anger going on in you. You know what I mean? So it's just being in that moment and having that time to really know that this aggression is in me. You know what I mean? It was really in me. I shout out to my mom to give me that support because there wasn't no males there. So she had to play both of the roles, being nurturing, but also telling me, but you got to man up. You got to man up. It ain't nothing gonna come get it for you. You got to man up. You got to fix this yourself. I know you hurt, so keep grinding then. You make sure don't nobody do this to you. You make sure you protect the other brothers. And that's what it was. That was really what it was for me. It was like I got to build myself to be able to protect my family. And that's what sparked the fire.
Well, and you talk a lot about, you know what it was like not having your father, you know, there with you as you were growing it up, and how it's, you know, kind of impacted you throughout that, you know, that early development. I think for me, like I had a little bit. It was a different situation. My father was an alcoholic, and he was absentee, and that he was choosing alcohol over me and the family. And you know, he was a, you know, 2-time state wrestler. Like we've literally never wrestled one time. Like I can't even get him to talk to me about it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I found for me that I found that I kept seeking wisdom and perspective from other individuals that I saw as being, you know, prominent in the community. You know, Chuck Schmidt was my, you know, our Boy Scout leader. That guy, I don't know what he saw in me, but he made sure that I was taken care of, and he made sure that I was acknowledged, and that just being acknowledged really just it was awesome. But anyways, I want to know for you, who was that person for you that you felt like you could go to that had that wisdom that would carry you through those most difficult times?
Man, my mentor. Like I said, Terrence Howard, man. He's he's been a blessing to me, man. I was like the only father figure that can really say that was truly representing that mode. But he was everything. He was everything, like my best friend, my father figure, my cousin. It just depended on what I needed at that time. He made sure he gave it to me. So,
That's
you know what I'm
awesome.
saying? And to this day, it's the same way. And it's to the point now, though, like, you know, what goes around comes around. He'll tell me in a minute, like, hey, man, you mentoring me now. You done showed me, you know what I'm saying, from coming from where you come from and to be where I'm doing now. He was like, you done showed me that it works. You know, a lot of people do things and we don't really get answers while doing it, or we don't get to see the fruit blossom from the flowers and the seeds that you plant. And for him to be able to see it and then to see how I done ran with it, and now I do this for my son and my kids. Like, I refuse to not be in my kids' life. I refuse to not make them number one. I refuse to not be on call. I don't care how old they is. Fatherhood don't stop. It don't. You can't quit in parenting. No matter how old they get, you always gonna be that parent. And that's was something that he showed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it never stops. You gotta keep being who you say you're gonna be at the end of the day. No matter who's there and who ain't there, you know what I mean? And my kids, I was a full-time father. I had my first kid when I was 16 going on 17. And,
Wow,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of responsibility.
To this day, we shoulder to shoulder now. To this day, we shoulder to shoulder. Me and my son is shoulder to shoulder, you know what I'm saying? He's actually took the path of being a boxer himself. And he's real good at it, you know what I mean? And it's a blessing to be able to see what you put into something start blossoming, you know what I mean? And shout out to my mentor for never quitting on me.
And that is
A moving
just
story.
an absolutely incredible story.
It's a very moving story.
I mean, just thinking about like cause I think about like my sister, man. Like if anything ever happened to my sister, like I would just be like devastated and then more angry than I've ever been in my entire life. And for you to be able to take that anger and angst and everything that you were feeling, and I'm sure confusion and everything else, and turn it into something just so overwhelmingly positive is just phenomenal. Like,
You know,
hats off to you, man. That's phenomenal.
Blessing to the Most High.
I want to know a little bit more about when you first started going into boxing. What was your goal? I mean, were you looking to turn it into something professional where you can make money at it, or were you thinking like, you know what, this is just something for me, I'm getting what I need out of it, let me just go and see where it takes me?
When I first started, like, I'm gonna be in competitional boxing, it actually transformed into being in the MMA. I ended up having to leave my town, the city of Peoria, due to a lot of other endeavors that I was involved in, you know, being who I was at the time. So I left and moved away. My mentor, the same guy, you know what I'm talking about.
Terrence Howard.
He's, like I said, he's a great man. He moved to St. Louis off a job that paid him an arm, a leg, and a shoulder and some hands, man. I'm saying, like, he fell into something well, because he never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Me and him have similar paths. You know what I mean? His father, he was a mother's boy. You know what I mean? And so he moved to St. Louis, and he was like, man, cuz, you know, you got to save yourself, man. And the town ain't going to do you right now. You're going down a different path, man. You need to come down here with me. And so, and he had his wife at the time, but the wife left and came up back to the town because it was hard for her to make the transition. You know how it be being in a different. So he stayed though, because he knew the job was what was needed for his family at the time. So I moved right down there with him. Like, I can come stay with you. He was like, of course, you know what I'm saying? Come stay with me.
Wow.
So I moved down there with him. And when I got down there, he gave me two options. He said, either you go graduate school, and he put on a video, and Mirko Krokop, the fighter, the UFC fighter, Pride fighter champion, Mirko Krokop. YouTube just came. It was like the year of YouTube too. It was like something, you know what I mean? That YouTube
like
was just a thing.
2006,
Really
2008, yeah.
Man, you feel me? YouTube wasn't big at all. It was just like a thing. So I'm watching these highlights, And he was like, yeah, man, you see that, man? You ever seen this? I'm like, nah, we watched the UFC, though. But what is this? He was like, this is Pride Fight Champion, another form of that UFC. I'm like, dang, man, they out here getting to. I'm like, his left leg is amazing. How can I get that, cuz? He was like, we can go find a gym tomorrow. And I looked, I'm like, for real? He was like, or you go to school, which one you gonna do? But you ain't gonna sit in my house. And I was like, oh, okay, well, take me to the gym, bro. You know I'm about that life. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So we go to the gym, and shout out to SCR's Boxing. They allowed me to walk in. And when I walked in, man, the gym was amazing. You had a quarter cage up there, big boxing ring, Muay Thai cats in there making all the noise, and you know what I'm saying? Hey, all the noises, man. It was just yeah, all of it. You feel me? All the great noises. I'm like, oh, I'm not leaving this. I can't leave this. And he gloved up. My mentor, he gloved up. And he threw me a set of gloves. And the coach was like, y'all finna get in. Now, my mentor is 10 years older than me. You know what I mean? And it's 2006, so I'm probably 20 now. You know what I'm saying? 20, 21, somewhere up in there. And so he got the age on me. He's shorter than me, man, by like 6 inches. So you know what I'm saying? It was something that I'm like, nah, you ain't gonna really get down. He's like, put the headgear on, put your mouthpiece in. Are you serious? And he derogoed me. You remember when Apollo Creed was trying to get out the corner and he was sliding him back in the corner and beating him up? Literally, I'm talking about kick me with everything under the sun. My nose was busted. My jaw was shifted a little bit. He gave me the raw business. And when I got done and got out of the thing, I said, I'm coming back tomorrow. He looked at me like, all right, man, this is what we doing then. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you ain't gonna keep beating on me like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming back tomorrow. So we came back, and they let me train in there for a good month. And of course, you know, it was hard for him to have his wife back home, and my kids was already back home. I already had my second kid at this time, but my kids was back home. So it was just me and him down there in St. Louis. And so I was like, man, let's go back home, bro. Let's go back home. And he was like, you know what, cuz, let's go back home. We need to be there for our family because, again, we don't want to do them the way we was done. You know what I'm saying? When we in St. Louis and our kids back here, no matter how much money you send them, these kids are fatherless. You know what I'm saying? They need to wake up to it. They need to hear our voice. We need to be able to be at these school events and things of that nature. So we came back to Peoria. Wasn't no boxing or anything going on. And I ran into Francis Sargent and a guy named Gary Higgins. Gary Higgins was a Air Force. He came out of the Air Force and he did what they call them Minutemen that jumps out the planes.
Yeah.
And he blew his hip out. He jumped out of the plane and the rope snapped and he landed on his feet. So he had probably the worst hip injury that you could probably talk about. You know what I'm saying? And so he didn't really know a whole lot about the game, but he loved it. He loved it, the whole UFC, MMA type of deal. And so happened to be a gym, man. They opened up a gym on Knoxville. Walked to that gym and it wasn't open. So I came back the next day, it wasn't open. And I went down there and I was like, I'm gonna sit here until the gym opened. And it opened up. Once it opened up, I told him I didn't have no money. And I was like, man, I just need an opportunity to join your team. I'll fight for your team. I just don't got no money to give you. Like that. And he was like, well, all right, man. The next person to come in, and it was almost like the same words of my mentor. The next person to come in, get in the ring with him. So I got in the ring with him. Shout out to Nate. And when I got in the ring with him, not the Nate that we know, but I got in the ring with him. Yeah, shout out to Nate, though, because I don't know what he's doing in life now, but without him, I wouldn't be in the position today. He came in. As soon as he came in, I'm like, hey, bro, get in the ring. I got to show him something. And he's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? So I get in the ring, and I just did it. I watched so much Miracle Crow Cop, I'm like, head kick. I got to throw a head kick. And I threw the head kick, and it landed. He dropped. Dude, like you on the team. You know what I'm saying? I got to be on the team. I didn't have to pay a single dime. I didn't even see Francis that day. I was just in there doing the MMA, so happened to be some of the buddies that I grew up with. They was in there. When I came back after a week, I mean, I'm training for about a week. Ain't seen nobody in this gym. Come back that following week, and I go in on a morning session, and all my guys in there from, you know what I'm saying? Well, not all of them, but a couple of my guys that I grew up with. And I'm like, bro, y'all fighting? He like, man, no, this the new thing. This what we trying to do. I'm like, cut it out, man. This is all I want to do, bro. He's like, well, yo, stick with me. And we locked in and we called ourselves the Four Horsemen. Because it was four of us. And we still buddies to this day. And that's the MMA life. And it went on from there. I never looked back after that.
That is the Four Horsemen is a great name for a team. That is an incredible story. Like, in some ways, when you go to the gym, it's almost like a makeshift family, sort of. Like, they're brothers for life.
It most definitely was. They're my brothers, man. We're my brothers. We don't miss family events. I go to all the family events. When you come to all my family, we're family. There's nothing. Blood don't make us family. That is family.
Tell me about the sergeants. You know, how did you get in with Francis?
Well, like I said, I was already in the facility, and I was training doing the MMA. And Francis Sargent, man, just so happened to be doing a kids class in that facility. It got to the point to where I wasn't leaving the gym. I didn't have much at all for the people that know this story. So I trained like literally 24/7. I did so much training, it didn't make no sense. But the gym opened up at 9 and we closed at 9. So I was in the gym from 9 to 9. And just so happened I seen Francis in there with his kids class on one of these days that I'm in the gym. And I was in the gym so much that I end up living in the gym, upstairs in the attic. In a little, where you know how you pull the ceiling down and a set of ladders come down? The area I slept in was like a manhole. It was so small, all I could do was put a little air mattress in there. I couldn't stand up in it, and I had my Nintendo 64. That was all that was in there. You know what I mean? And I slept in there for months.
What was your game on 64?
Yeah, it was the game. Oh, you know what it was? It was GoldenEye. I played the heck out of 007.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah. I love me some GoldenEye.
Yes.
Those are my 2 games. After I get out of the gym, I'm climbing upstairs playing GoldenEye and Killer Instinct.
That thing was
I
addictive.
but I've never played it. So I'm a big gaming enthusiast, particularly Nintendo.
Like GoldenEye changed, like in terms of first-person shooters, GoldenEye changed the game.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I'm a gamer. I was a gamer. I'm not a gamer now. I'm too busy, man.
Same, man.
Me and Coach Bill too busy. I'm going to chance to sit in front of it.
It had no business being as good as it was. Like,
I'll show you right.
It didn't make any sense. Like, it was supposed to just be like another like crappy movie game, and then they wind up just changing the face of gaming entirely.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Well, and then now. You know, I was watching a thing about Max Holloway, and what he was using the first UFC game to throw different combos, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, it works in here in these situations, and he would try throwing those things in the gym. John Jones, YouTube, and then so I actually, when I first started, I tried using the YouTube method, let me just learn what I can, and you know what wound up happening? I got hurt. I kept hurting myself because I didn't realize my hands, the tendons, the way they go into the bone and everything, they weren't strong enough for me to throw my full weight into it. So a lot of times I mean, even if I was wrapped up, but I'd throw my hand out, my wrist would just buckle or jam up, and it was just brutal.
And what's crazy, that's just elbow placement. That's just really your elbow placement at the end of the day. And those are the things that I end up learning due to with Gary Higgins and Francis Sargent not being the top MMA coaches at that time. I stayed in the gym, and YouTube became my friend again. YouTube became my friend. So after I did the training with Gary, then Francis, I started doing boxing with Francis. I would leave both of them. They'll shut the gym down. Now I'm staying in the gym. I'm going right to the computer room. I'm looking up YouTube. And the techniques that I learned off of YouTube, I would bring them back to class the next day. Hey, I done figured out the Peruvian necktie. I done figured out the arm bar.
Yeah.
My brother's never. I put it on them.
I know.
I put it on them. I put the move on them, and they be like, bro, this is dope. How you do it? Now, this is how I become the trainer.
Yeah.
So with Gary not being able to move as well, and Francis doing strictly boxing, MMA is on the rise at this time. So people start coming to me for MMA training, and that's how I become the trainer. I start training other individuals what made my skills better. You know what I'm saying? I would have to do some studying,
Yeah.
and then I would teach them what I learned to study, and that's how I got better at my skills. But it would also put me in a place where I got humbled. The city didn't like it. I had a whole web pages put up on me, calling me a false trainer. Marsh didn't want to respect what I was doing because I didn't go it the traditional way. But anybody who I have trained, and it's a true fact. You can ask anybody who I done put my hands on. They all done got belts. They all became champions underneath me. I know what I'm doing. I done did thousands and thousands of hours of studying. I still study to this day. This man right here, y'all know who it is. This man right here, my God, you feel what I'm saying? To this, we still do hours and hours and hours of studying because you done that. Always in the lab, and that's where my training actually started picking up, to the point to the same people that wrote those quotes about me, those passages about me, saying I'm not a great trainer, all respects me to this day now. So it's just a process.
Yeah.
So anybody that's paying attention, man, don't. It ain't about what people say at the end of the day. It's about what you actually doing. So just get it done.
So I understand what you're going through. Like, there's actually a guy I used to train with on a 101 session at my at this one gym. So this is before I actually joined Peoria Muay Thai. So I trained under a former gold medalist named Rustam Olmasov. So that dude did the training equivalent of turning me inside out. Like, he pushed me to my utmost limit, made me stretch in ways that basically made me want to cry. So I only joined Peoria Muay Thai so I could actually deal with his classes better. So basically, he was going to Peoria Muay Thai was the appetizer. He's the main course, basically. So
Indeed.
So it's amazing what you can learn. Not only that, I do the same thing you do in regards to YouTube. Like, one YouTube channel, me and Phil talked about this. I really love. It's called Fight Tips.
Yeah,
like I still also. Not only that, I also look up something called Precision Boxing. Also, like I still look up all sorts of hacks on the internet while I'm not at the gym. Like, I can get what you're saying. Like, YouTube is an amazing database for finding fight tips.
Oh yeah. It said the meeting is ending. Is that?
No,
is
that shouldn't. Wait. That shouldn't be.
I think we're still good.
Yeah.
Just say we are not ending this meeting. We were having a good conversation. we got more work to do.
Yes.
Well, I want to know. So I mean, you've been through a lot. Like, you're living in the gym. You got an N64, which is dope. Like, what? And then but then you went in towards MMA as opposed to boxing. And did you get any fights? Did you amateur, professional?
Oh yeah. I did over over 20 fights. I was 19-4 as an amateur.
19-4 as an amateur in MMA.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't get to do well, and in my pro career again at that time. No excuses, but I had so many injuries. I was injury prone, and so it held me back. But I had custody of my kids, so I just kept going. I just kept fighting. I ended up being 1-3 as a professional MMA fighter. Yeah.
Man,
but it never slowed me down. Try me. I'm dope. And I got all the surgeries that I needed. They told me I'd never be able to fight again. They told me I wouldn't be able to run again. I also came back and played football again. Won 2 championships with my son. You know what I mean? Me and him played on the same football field together also. Life has been amazing for me. The way Most High have laid that path out for me, I cannot complain, brother. Even though, the struggles that I've been into, it really built a solid character to me. I'm in love with myself, man, and I'm just blessed. I'm blessed at the end of the day to be able to go through what I went through and come out on top in my mind.
So I heard there's a saying on the internet, basically. Well, I saw it on the internet. Is that suffering builds greatness? Would you guys agree with that?
Say that again.
Suffering is what builds greatness.
Oh yes. Again, like I said, you don't know how to get up if you don't fall. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people run away from. And the way the world today is, everything seems so instantaneous. It's just like snapping a finger, there's a new guy who's a millionaire. Snapping the fingers, there's a new girl who's a millionaire. Snapping the fingers, there's a new, you know what I mean? There's a new face of this, and it really, they don't tell you about the struggle. You know what I'm saying? I just watched a video about Javante Tank Davis, about him getting almost arrested by the police because he was sleeping outside of the gym. I'm like, man, that was me. You know what I'm saying? That was me. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for the gym to open up. And that's what the cop didn't arrest him, because he told him, I'm just waiting for the gym to open up. You know what I'm saying? And when the gym opened, he's in the gym and he's working. And it's like, without that, we wouldn't see Javante Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen yesterday. He just woke up and became the Tank. Like, he's been through it. He slept in kitchens. He trained in the kitchen because his trainer was a chef. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, it's like the struggle is what greatness come from. We done watched the story of Ali. We done seen the story of George Foreman. These cats came from the mud, and that's why I represent the mud. That's where I'm gonna come from. I'm gonna stand in the mud, and I don't have no issue with getting dirty, because I know once I'm cleaned up, you're gonna really see the shine.
Well, now I know where Mud Hut Warriors comes from.
Yep. That was a combined thing. That was a combined. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Seti. That was a combined thing, but it's Mud Warriors training. That's my whole movement. Yep.
So, and something I think you might be interested in is I've had a couple of conversations with some people around town who are in.
Again, I couldn't hear you.
I say I've been talking to some physicians around town that are like in orthopedics and that deal in sports medicine. And
yeah, hold on 1 second. You sort of blanked out. I'm gonna see if I can get you back up on my.
Oh.
Okay, can you speak to me now?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it just seems so low.
That better?
There we go. Let's work it.
All right. So I met a couple people around town today who have a strong passion for sports medicine, and we're currently in talks with them to have a sports medicine physician come on to the podcast and talk about some early injury prevention for people that are wanting to train and to do it in the best ways possible.
Right.
Do you think that having access to that kind of information maybe would have changed some of your outcome in terms of like getting injured?
Like, for the ones that truly study the body, excuse me, you're still a little low, but we can make it to it. But for the ones that's doing anything with the body, yes, to have that type of information is a must. It would have saved me. It would have saved me on a lot of things. Also, man, just doing things with proper technique. Anything you do when it comes to the martial arts field or any sports field, technique is everything. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people tend to try to rush past technique. They think that they can throw their arm from their shoulder, they throwing a jab. And man, me and Coach Bell, I'm telling you, you'll be in here for 5-6 weeks throwing a jab. You know what I'm saying? If it has to be, because I'm not sending you out there with no bogus tools. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I didn't have. I didn't have no real coach that made technique so important, and that's how I ended up injuring myself so much. You know what I mean? It was just go hard or go home mentality with me.
So I've been following. There's a wide receiver in professional football by the name of Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
He's the last 2 years he's gotten injured with the most common injury in football, which is a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
And so he went to a sports medicine place, and what he found was that his one of his thighs was 20% larger than the other one, and that's what was causing the injury. So there was something that he was doing where he was training and he overtrained certain parts of his body, and because he didn't supplement the other areas, he winds up injuring himself. And it's like, this guy has access to some of the best sports medicine professionals in the entire world. It's like, what chance would somebody have just, you know, if you're sleeping in a boxing gym? Like, it's like you almost have no chance at all unless you have access and to those resources and the education those individuals can provide.
Yup. And man, like a great saying that you know, in training that I took from Coach Bell, man, is, you know, if you do it for one side, you better do it for the other side. And it makes sense, you know what I'm saying? With people being right hand dominant or left hand dominant, and they tend to overuse that left hand and not understanding the stress and what you're doing and the potential injuries that you're about to give yourself because you're not practicing with the other hand, or you're not you're not using the other leg as much, or you only do right cuts. You know what I'm saying? When in football, you only run into the outside. You know what I mean? It's something that you really got to pay attention to. And it took years and years and years of me damaging myself, tearing myself up to understand that this person saying that. And it's like, wow, I've been training for so long, and I just never really paid attention to me only being this way, or me focusing on getting this, because my right hand jab is quicker than my left hand jab. You know what I mean? But I'm right side dominant. And shout out to Francis on flipping that too. I'm gonna give Francis a big round of applause on that, because once we started boxing, Francis made me put my right hand to the back. And because I started off in Kung Fu, and in Kung Fu, you lead with your power hand, but it's a self-defense style. So you're trying to get the job over quickly. You feel what I'm saying? So of course you'll use your dominant hand to try to get the job done. But in the sport of combat, you got to make it through you might have to fight a couple rounds. So you doing something quickly might not happen. So you got to make sure that you're physically fit in all fashions. And that's something that I did learn, you know what I'm saying, as he brought my right hand to the back and helped me lead with my left hand. But it also gave me a gift, because now I'm a switch fighter in the sense of what people like to call, you know, I can fight from any position.
I say, yeah, I feel like there's a huge amount of benefit to being able to, you know, transition into southpaw, go back to, you know, standard footing, because you can create all sorts of different angles and openings.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, having that skill set is just amazing. Oh, I forgot what I was going to ask. Anshuman, you had something that you wanted to mention.
So, in regards to your journey,
yes,
what do you wish to leave behind if you could have a choice?
You said, what would I leave behind
as your legacy?
Oh, as my legacy, it's just being a solid individual. I always want to remember that as a guy that just been true to himself and true to other people. Like, you know, the more I'm getting in tune with life, the more I'm getting in tune with information and the words and how what comes out of your mouth actually plant seeds in everyone's head. I tend to not try to waste my time. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure that I'm leading with the passion of love at the end of the day, because love cures all, no lie. No matter what you're going through, a little love will cure it. I promise you that. So I lead with love and make sure that love returns. And I just want to be a person that's remembered for that he actually put his best foot forward every time he moved.
You know, so I was actually in a school yesterday, meeting with some of the, you know, teachers in locally in Peoria.
Show you right.
They showed a video of a gentleman who had, you know, he had ADHD, and he really struggled in school, got kicked out of, you know, every class you can think of. And then when he hit 6th grade, he got this teacher, and this teacher pulled him aside one day and said, you know what? I need to tell you something. Sit down. You know, I love having you in my class. I love how smart you are. I love how funny you are. I love, you know, everything that you bring to the table. What, and like the fact that he tells 100 jokes a day. You know, he's just telling jokes all day long. So he's like, I love that you tell jokes. I don't love that you tell 100 jokes. It like, you know, he kind of talked about like, you know, like a Jerry Seinfeld or you know, like when you hear their jokes, like you're hearing the best 4 or 5 jokes that they have. You're not hearing the other 95% of the jokes.
Yeah, that they ran through.
And then so what he did was like, look, like I'm going to give you 5 minutes and 3 jokes at the beginning of class every day. That's your time. Like, come prepared. And like it just resonated so hard with me, because like I felt the same. Like if I had a a coach or a trainer, somebody that if they came to me and said that they enjoyed having me there for whatever reason it just felt very validating, and it felt like I could be my most authentic self, which allowed me to push everything else away and really dial in and just focus intently on the mission at hand. And for me that turned into to martial arts. I wonder if you experienced anything like that in your life.
Oh man, yeah. Like again, you know what I'm saying? My mentor, and then I was a class clown too. Yeah, I was a class clown, and now for my actual career outside of boxing, I do behavior development. I actually be in schools. I teach kids on how to behave and develop good behavior skills. And today was one of the first days I had a meeting at the school that I'm actually will be in. And doing a lot of my behavior development and the teachers are so happy for me to be back because they call me the kid whisperer. And I only speak out of experience. So, I don't, like I said, I don't like to waste my time. So I speak out of experience, and that comes from me being a class clown and knowing, you know what I'm saying? That, hey man, it might not be a bad thing that you're a funny guy. It's just a time and place for this funniness. You know what I'm saying? So don't lose that character. Don't lose that. No, that's you. If that's you, that's you. Be the best version of that person. But it's a time and place for that person. And that's something that I it took time for me to figure it out. But now that's how I become the person I am, because I know like it's a time and place for this person that you are. And people will enjoy it. You can be the best version of that. Just know the proper time to use it. Because you have to be stern sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I might have to be, the little bad guy. You know what I mean? But that's going to help that kid be the good guy. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So it's just, yeah, man, I had several people I took a lot of good jewels from and who allowed me, man, again, this guy here, you know what I'm saying? I got, for our 5 years that we done been together, man, this man really did a lot. I was a butcher. I was a butcher, and he picked me up from work one day, and I think the smell killed him. So he's like, yo, bro, you got to get it from over here, fam. And that's how I got into behavior development from this guy. He's like, nah, I ain't finna be riding around with you like this all the time, bro. We gonna get you somewhere else. And he hooked me up and got me into that field of behavior development.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then I had another setback in life. And this guy answered the phone call when I was in that situation. He answered the phone call, and I'm standing. If you notice my name, I proclaim my nationality in 420. 2020, April of 2020, and my appellation is El Phileas Soleil Bay. And once I proclaimed my nationality, I went through a lot standing on them terms. And I end up having to see those bricks. I was behind the wall, man, and I was facing a whole lot of time. And this was recent. It was we just linked in. We just linked in. We was moving. I just met his kids, the kids he was training. He allowed me to be in their life, man. And I'm talking about, I'm ecstatic. Like I'm finally back in the fight world. I'm finally training kids again. And boom, I'm behind bars. Coach, what the heck going on, fam? Like, this ain't how it's supposed to work out, fam. And I'm supposed to be back here for a long time, but I'm not finna change who I am. I know who I am. And he even said it like, we do too. But it's a time and place for everything. And I'm like, you're right. He said, I need you home. And with him saying that, things worked out. I got me a decent lawyer, and I eligible to came home after a little small time. And he was right there waiting for me. My brother was right there waiting for me. So that's why y'all see me on his heels like that. Like, I won't leave this man, you know what I'm saying? Because we brought it back, the big circle. He put me back on game, put me back on my square. And was like, you ain't got to stop being who you are, bro. That ain't it, but it's a time and place for that right now. And right in the situation you in, we can't use that person. We need that other person so I can get you home. And he got me home. So shout out to this man again, man. That's why I'm telling you, he's a blessing.
I think that we actually have like two full other podcasts here, because like I would love to just pick your mind about behavioral development and what you feel some of the the biggest catalyst that we can do as a community to rally around the youth to give them the support that they need. And then the other thing you said, I already forgot on my mind, but I'm sure I'll remember. Oh, I'm going, getting behind bars again. I mean, that's got to be like, number one, terrifying, but like I don't know, man. Like what's that like? Like, I mean, so do you want to talk about it all? Like, do you want to share what happened?
Again, anything that happened to me, man, it was done for a reason. Shout out to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? I had to sit down. I had to sit down. If I didn't, I'll be running wild again. You feel what I'm saying? So everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. My negatives always plays out to be a positive at the end of the day. I'm a firm believer in that, especially if I believe in what I'm doing. If what I'm doing is right at the end of the day, and I know I'm leading with my best foot, there ain't nothing. There's no way you can take me away from that. So, and I'm gonna keep stepping towards that. And yeah, it was rough, but again, I always wanted to be that guy, to be a solid individual. So before I even got involved with that situation, I was still out here. I was out here being this solid individual, and so I just so happened to get put in that box with people that knew me from the city. You know what I'm saying? And they gave me praise as soon as I walked in there. It was to the point to where the CEOs was looking at me like, man, what are you doing? How did you do that? How did you come in here with all these people that's facing gun charges? Sparks getting ready to do 63 years. You know what I'm saying? People that have been in real situations that they're going through, and I was making them peaceful. I brought them peace when they see me. And because I kept it 100% with them, I kept it real with them. Like, hey, we all back here now. We all trying to go home. And you being mad at me ain't gonna get you at home. Me being mad at you ain't gonna get you at home. You need some phone time. You want to call your people, don't you? So we're gonna make sure that everybody get phone time. I'm gonna stand on that. Everybody get the phone time. I don't care who it is, from the weakest person in the pod to the strongest person in the pod. That's what I'm gonna stand on. And I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to stand on that situation. And so the respect was given, because I gave respect. I led with my best foot. I lead with love, no matter what situation I'm in. And love shall return. It's a big cycle, one big 360.
Man, I think it's incredible that you were able to go through an experience like that, like another just a profoundly difficult and stressful experience, and you again turn it into a positive. You went, what the heck am I doing? You know, I don't know exactly what happened, but nor do I need to. Like the fact that you were able to make that course correction and put your life into a way where you're now, advocating for the youth and our most susceptible individuals in our community is, dude, it's just incredible, absolutely incredible.
Shout out to the Most High, man, for real.
And like you're getting sponsored by or getting grant money from the police department. Like
and which is funny, you know what I'm saying? Which was one of the most funniest things, because I also told them that. I told them that while I was in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gonna be working with me here soon. When I get up out of here, y'all gonna be working with me. And they was like, all right, yeah, whatever. As soon as I came home, me and my brother got right to business. You know what I'm saying? He was still going. I used to talk about I'll call every day. I called every day to check on the kids. You know what I'm saying? I did, like, how we doing? How with the fight? You know what I'm saying? What we got going, man? And so it gave life to the pod to where they woke up asking me, man, did your kids win? Did they win? You know what I'm saying? We went 5-2 that day. Show you right, man. Can't wait till you get out of there, man, so I can send my kids to you. And I knew I won. I knew I won then. You know what I'm saying? That these guys is facing the years that they're facing, and they can't wait for me to come home so I can take care of their kids for them. You know what I'm saying? I find a way to implement me in their life for them. So I would never throw that away. You know what I'm saying? I agree.
So tell me, what's your favorite part about being a coach?
Gardening. Coaching is gardening. And a lot of coaches don't know that. And that's why a lot of people get to jump from gym to gym. You know what I'm saying? Or they end up leaving the sport. We have kids that comes and goes, but that's the part that you see. at the end of the day, that they come. They go, then they come.
Mm-hmm.
They go, then they come back. You feel what I'm saying? Just like in garden. You plant that seed, and once that seed is planted, it turns into that flower. But what that flower gives you? More seeds. Now you plant more flowers. This flower comes right back. You might have plucked that ear of corn, but it's going to be another seed in that same spot where another ear of corn is about to grow. So a true coach knows that gardening is the best part about it. You actually get to see your fruits grow. And ain't too many jobs in the world that you can be in the way you see your fruits. And this is one of the ones right here. I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to say, like, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to step into a combat sport, and you going into a new gym where you don't know anybody, you don't know the coaches. So I see any individual who takes the time and has that courage to walk in the door, like, you've already won the day. Like, because you chose to better yourself, you chose to surround yourself with these individuals, like, that's a win all day long.
All day long. Most definitely. Most definitely. Big shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate this podcast, man. I most definitely do. I normally ain't on this side of it. I'm usually being the one that talks on these things. So to be able to just, talk a little bit. A lot of people don't know about me on how I live, because I keep a lot of it private, and for many reasons. But I'm at that point now to where my feet is completely underneath. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly what I'm reaching for. I know exactly what I'm going. I'm with a beautiful team. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I'm just waiting for all these seeds to grow that we done put in, man.
No, you guys have already taken off. You guys are flying right now. Like,
I'm
excited to see the trajectory that you're on, and how far that we're all able to take this thing. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. Like, you guys, opening your doors, Robert Bell, Anthony Holloway,
giving
me an opportunity to talk to you guys just very honestly about combat sports and what that pathway is like for individuals who are in it, and just peeling back the layers of that are kind of hidden from people that are maybe even in the gym or like see you all the time. There's all this stuff that goes into combat sports that's just behind these curtains that nobody can really see. And I feel like when you start like just ripping those things down, some people can start shedding that fear, and we can start getting more individuals into gym, people asking better questions, or at least asking questions intently to better understand people around them. So I really just I appreciate you guys so much for for being on here, and again opening your doors, inviting us to come out to Expo Gardens, watching you guys at the Civic Center, man. You can do it. You guys, oh man, I wanted to buy one of those sweatsuits so bad, because you guys
we looking good, didn't we, baby? Yeah. You stay on business. You got one for you. I got one.
I do want to buy one of these days. I really should.
Yeah, dude, I was that was really cool. Like, just seeing you guys there, and then like what was the name of that guy that you had that did the performance at the show?
Oh man, another guy who been in my life for a long time. I said, my first kid, I was 16 going on 17, and I ended up having my own apartment. I ended up moving out of my mother's house because I was, a young adult in the sense of, and I lived in a village green, and he was already friends with some of the family members, and when he seen me, and he fell in likings with me, and he most definitely just took me under his wing. And music was already in my life at that time. I was doing talent shows and stuff because it was a way of expressing. It was a way of expressing my mind, and it calmed me down a lot. So that's how I fell into music so heavy, because I had so much on my head, and I wanted to say so much and wanted to do so much. So in order for me to stop me from just doing, I'll write it down. And then music, and he was right there, and he helped me. There's a few of us, but he was one of the main ones that was like, man, you got a true gift on this music thing. And so I was already a fan of his. I used to sneak out and go watch them perform and things of that nature. So I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You really think so? He's like, yeah. So I took off. You can't tell me I can do something. I'm one of them guys too. Don't tell me I can do something. I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So
you're the make
so
it happen.
you know, I ended up doing it, and I started really taking off in the music. And he will always be there to support me. So I had to return the favor, and I felt like that stage, that event was just the big magnitude was like the perfect stage for me to be able to say, thank you, I love you. You know what I'm saying? For being there for me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to B.I. You know what I'm saying? B.I., baby, born invincible. We know you, baby. We see you. I told you you're the legend. I told you, baby. So shout out to him, man, for real.
Well, dude, cause I mean, I had a blast at the Civic Center show. Like that show,
Oh, you're right.
it was a lot of fun.
Nice show. Yeah, we was there too. The Civic Center show was real nice.
I have to say that the electricity in the Expo Garden show, man, like it's so difficult to describe. Like, you really just had to be there. Like, there's just so much energy in the room. Like, all eyes in the ring. And like, I mean, sometimes you'd have a few people sitting down, but then suddenly the entire room is just standing. It's all eyes on the ring. It's like, this is incredible. Like, like we're all getting to share this moment. Like, it only happened because you guys did it. You went out and put that show on. So, like, thank you.
Thank you, man.
You know, I told you before the show, you know, I was able to, you know, bring my boys. Like, these are my first 2 boxing events that I've ever
That's
gotten to
good.
go to.
I did not know that too when I seen you. I was so busy with that show, man. I really didn't know you brought the fam out on us like that, man. That's a blessing, bro.
Yeah, I think what happened with Midwest Showdown and Guns Down, Gloves Up could create more events, boxing, not just boxing events, but other combat sports events in the local area. It's a catalyst.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but that was the point. That was the purpose. It was another shout out to Johnny. He did an interview with us at the end of the event, and that was one of the main things that Coach Bell was speaking on in the interview. He was like, "Yo, man, it's uniting. It's uniting. I know we're considered a city. I know that. We was Little Vegas years and years and years before our time. We was because Peoria was a hot spot, and you know what goes up comes down. It's a wave of life. You know what I'm saying? So, and now we sort of on the low end when it comes to entertainment and bringing in these type of people that entertains us for all the hard work we do. Because one thing about Peoria, we work hard. We do work hard. You know what I'm saying? No matter what field you in, we have to because we so small. But we have the heart of a big city, like we're Vegas, like we're Chicago, like we Detroit, like we New York, and that's the heart that we come with. But with us uniting, now that heart's going to be felt. You know what I'm saying? Now it's getting felt by the city, and they're getting involved in it. Now that's what we need back. And a guy from Michigan decided to come here and say, man, this is where I'm putting my foot in. This is where I'm gonna plant these seeds at. And now his garden is growing. And it's growing, and I'm gonna make sure it grows even bigger now because that's the heart of Peoria. That's what we are. We might be a town, but we truly are the biggest city in this bad boy. You hear me?
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm with you. Like, I'm behind you guys 100%. I want to see that. Like, I would love it if we had a boxing show every month. Like, I feel like that's something.
Please.
Seriously, every month. We should be able to get to a point where we can cultivate enough of a talent pool to where we can offer a boxing show every month. Even
I agree.
If it's only like 6 or 7 bouts, like, it doesn't have to be crazy, but it does have to be recorded. Like, that's something that I really want to try to figure out, because, like, man, I would have loved to have an overhead view of all the stuff that was happening in the ring, dude. I would have picked apart every single one of those fights. I probably would have spent 3 or 4 hours just watching those videos over and over again.
Man, tell you about it. And that's what we do. That's what we do. I'm gonna have to invite you to the round table, man. We're gonna have to invite you to the round table.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yes, so I think that's a high end, very, very, very high end note.
Show you right. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all again, man.
Thanks a lot, man. It's all love, man.
All love.
No, thank you guys. Like, I love doing this. You guys obviously love doing what you're doing, and I love being able to share that with other people. You know, I appreciate you listening to you know, our perspective and sharing your own. And I mean, really sharing some some of the more difficult parts of your life. Hopefully that we can, some individuals will see this, it'll resonate with them, and they can learn through you.
For sure, and that's why I'm here. And that's why we move. We all messages from the Most High, and so at the end of the day, what message do you want to represent? Hopefully, I'm representing the message that'll bring somebody up out of their dark slumber and let them know that it's positivity at the end of everything. You just got to see it, and you got to make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. This was Fight Talks with Philly P. Our special guest,
Indeed.
Coach Bang.
KOK, baby. KOK Mud Warriors, baby. Y'all know what it is.
Definitely in the building. We'll see y'all real soon.
Real soon.
We got a big surprise coming.
Big surprise.
Well, okay, I'm excited for that because
I am too.
I'm waiting for it. And Anshuman and I are going to do a little bit of chatting this week. I would love to get out to the gym and do a little bit of recording and share your gym with you next week if that's all right.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, bro.
Awesome, and hopefully get a little pad work in too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, come on, yeah, when you talk about that with a jab or something you're talking about, we gotta work on that anyway.
Yeah, we gotta get that together.
Oh, dude, I'm excited. Awesome. Hey, thank you guys so much for being here. Have yourself a great night. I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah. See you guys.
Okay, man. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Much love.
Much love, baby.
Take care.
Bye.